Well, hey, welcome everybody to another Tech Tip Tuesday night. Here we are in December 13th. One more, I think, before the end of the year, maybe two. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a minute. Sorry about missing last week, but gosh, I'll tell you what, there was so much stuff going on. Crazy week. But here we are. For you guys that are new to Tech Tip Tuesday, hey, guess what? This is a chat-based forum, and we will take all your questions from the chat. So certainly put your questions in there and we will unpack those. My name is Ken Close. I'm a USA board member for Healy, as well as an electronics engineer. Been here for about 3 years with Healy. My co-host tonight is Jake Barron, from head of operations, live from Orlando, right, Jake?
Actually down in Fort Myers right now, but from Florida. So
From
yes.
Florida, anyway, close to the home office. So thanks for joining. And we've got a customer service representative, Anthony's with us tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, Anthony is in the chat today. You'll see him there under Anthony right now. So
Anthony's in the house. Welcome, Anthony. Thanks for your help. We really appreciate you. So what we do here, guys, is we will take your questions from the chat. We'll bring them on live here. We'll talk about them, sort them out, and give you some quick facts and repairs and whatever we can do for you. What we can't do is we can't treat, diagnose, or prevent any kind of disease. We won't be able to give it any advice around program groups or things to do around that as well. So let's just keep it to the technical things. I know there's been some issues lately that we were sorting through, so I'm sure we're going to have some great questions tonight. So how about we get this party started, Jake? You ready?
okay, here we go.
Okay. Chat's already lighting up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Linda's got one. There is a ticket number unable to resolve, can't change a password or get verification code for this particular serial number. So, Anthony, that's something you could probably take a peek at, or unless, Jake, you can see that ticket number. But yeah, you know, changing the password, there's been some issues with trying to, in the past, there was a shift to change it. So there was a portal directly to get you back into your account. Anyway, so let's see what that one looks like. Here's something that I want to chat about here. So 3 weeks ago, I added a person to the Telegram, the Healy group. I was immediately banned from the group by the administrator. 2 weeks ago on Tech Tip Tuesday, Jake said he would check into that. As of today, still banned. Can you please help get you back in? So I have had many people, actually, this has happened to, and I don't know. I asked Telegram for some clarification, but still not getting anything back. But if there's a possible hack, somebody could get banned arbitrarily. I don't know, but I know that we do have some very specific rules around one's username within that group, you know, not being a handle, a number, an abbreviation, something like that, but having a name. We're getting so much attack by spammers and such, because it's large groups are targets for that kind of thing, for marketing. And so we really want to protect you guys from spammers as much as we possibly can. And the way we do that is to make sure that we know the user ID, first and last name in our group, so that we can kind of verify, you know, who they are. And so some people that just had initials or numbers are getting kicked out. So first of all, making sure that your identification on Telegram is your first and last name. You can still keep your phone number private, by the way, with a Telegram account. You know, in your setup functions, you can keep your number hidden, but your name will show up. Okay, so that's what we need. If you've been banned for some reason, accidentally or because of that, fix that. And then there's ways that we can get you back in. It does require some steps on an administrator to get you back in there. Jake, you want to talk about that at all? Because I know what those steps are as well.
I just added back in there. So take a look again. There's certain things in Telegram we're sort of we can't really control. But try it again here now and see if you're able to get into the group again. So I tried to manually do it, so we'll see. But
All right. Excellent. Well, I know that sometimes an administrator, we can get that done, but anyway, we'll take a look. Okay. David's talking about the MagHealy app question. If you're not to run the program while driving, where do you run the car app or the car program? So when we're clearing our car, you can have the Healy running in your car or the MagHealy running in your car without driving it. It's not necessarily to improve the function of the car or make it run better, although I've heard some stories. But it's essentially for clearing energy within a car. Let's say you bought a used car, right? You don't know what the energy was prior to that. And so running it in the car without you driving it, is the function, is the idea.
yeah, and the main reason behind not running it while driving is a safety thing for yourself, that you're not messing with the app and your MagHealy, just like you're not supposed to text and drive, that type of thing here. Not more versus it actually being dangerous to your car or something like that while driving. So, a lot of people, of course, if you're in the car by yourself, but if you're a passenger in the car or something like that, a lot of people, might be running some sort of atmosphere program, maybe not even necessarily the car program, but just in what atmosphere program while you're on a road trip or something like that. Maybe some sort of relaxation type thing to avoid all the craziness on the road. But yeah, that's kind of the point there. But
the manufacturers understand too, folks, that manufacturers have to write certain protective measures in so that you're not using heavy machinery. You've probably seen this on some of the labels of things. Don't use heavy machinery or drive or not for pregnancy or whatever. But there's got to be some things put in there to protect everyone. But still, your decisions are your decisions. So just keep in mind that you can, be the experiment in your life, but don't text and drive. don't Healy and drive. Okay. So Peggy has, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Peggy has a question here, which we're not going to answer fully on this call, but it's related to some of the global alignment of how the results come back in the HealAdvisor search module. So there has been an update, and it's it's to have alignment globally, which there's a lot of different regulations in the US versus Europe versus in Asia Pacific, and we certainly understand it's a change, and we're going to talk more about this. Martin Whitman, our Chief Product Officer, is going to be on What's Up Wednesday tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can join that call at HealyWUW.com. And he's going to go into a little bit more detail of why this change was made. It wasn't, there's more to it than just, hey, we needed, there's a reason for it. And, it is different. And, the biggest thing is, of course, some of the names that come back. What does the number mean after the program name? But essentially, the search has gotten smarter. The names that come back might not necessarily be what you would expect, but within each of those names, those programs are the highest relevance to what you search for. So it might take a little bit, it's a little different process to see what those programs are. And then Martin will go into some more detail on that. But yeah, so.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know who Martin is our Chief Product Officer at headquarters in Germany. So he's super familiar with all the development. And so he's going to be on the What's Up Wednesday call tomorrow. Please join that. There's going to be some great information, some questions that he's going to unpack for us. And we're going to be talking about this right here. So we'll get some more clarity there tomorrow. And if you can't make it, it's at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. Eastern. The recording will be available and it'll be on the YouTube page. Of course, it will also be hyperlinked. So there'll be content that you can just skip right to instead of looking at the whole thing if you just want to get in there. If you can't make it live, then the recording will be available soon after. Thanks to Jake and all of his diligence. Rock. Okay.
Actually, Alexandria on our tech support team is the one that adds all the calls now to YouTube. So thank you so much to her to help out, because it is a very big project. So
right on, Alexandra. Thank you. I've done those before, and you have to listen to the whole thing,
yeah.
and then put in categories and subject matters, and then timestamp them. Takes a minute. Okay. See, Doreen says, when I try to change the sleep time on my watch app, it does not work. So, try to change the sleep time. In other words, when you go to sleep, some of the features in the app. So when you're saying you're not working, you're changing parameters within the app, I'm assuming. And then they're just not updating within the app, I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, if you're putting in content into the fields, changing parameters. Jake, you have any ideas on this? I have not had this issue.
I actually have not seen this specific one come up, but we can certainly look more into that.
Yeah, the app themselves, it's an interface. And so when you're setting parameters up, just like the HealAdvisor, app, our search app, you're putting in like what Healy you have, what programs you have. That's essentially locked in when you change a field, a parameter in the app. If it's not, I'm trying to think of what would be a cause. Other than I can't think of anything right now. The synchronization between the app and the smart device is obviously going to be intact because you've opened the app and it's operational and functional. It's showing you a parameter or a box that you can change information within. Once you change that information, it should lock it into the app. Yeah, aside from clearing the cache content, maybe within that app on your smart device, turning the smart device off and back on so that you get a good, clear resource availability between your smart device and the app. I mean, there's been some very rare occasions where I've experienced where the keypad actually isn't, when you type something, it actually doesn't show up the characters in the field. You know what I mean? When you're trying to change a name or a parameter there. But if you're seeing the changes happening in the app, they should be locked in. We'll see if, I don't know if Anthony, if you got anything. Okay. Keep an eye on the chat for more information on that if anything comes up.
We got a question from Linda asking, what is the replacement cost for MagHealy, which is checking for insurance purposes? So it's 700 USD. So regardless of what you paid for it, where you paid $3,000 US for it, if you lose it, something like that, something happens, then it's $700.
Okay.
And this next question here says, can you tell me what the reference to positive and minus progress analyzed for frequency means? So I'm assuming they're talking about within the Healy, the Healy app, the new Healy app, or Healy 2 app, which is what it's now officially referred to as, that progress indicator that pops up after about 10 minutes underneath. I'm going to share a link here. There's actually a new video. A lot of people kind of have overlooked this because it was part of the Frequencies and Friends recap. And there's a bunch of new videos in Academy that came out a month or two ago now, specifically for the new Healy app. But there's a new one that kind of snuck in there, and it's about how the Healy programs work, and it's excellent. There's some information in there that probably most people on this call have never seen explained before in any sort of video. So I'll put that link here into the chat. But if you go to your, actually, I'll show it how to get to it too. But Ken, if you want to add anything to that while I'm
yeah, you know, just look at things as the needs of your body, and the negative and the positive things. Some people look at a negative number as something not good, right? So when we're looking at something that's got a little minus side beside it, just means that this scale from a negative 99% or 100% negative to 100% positive, that's just a very wide range of need for your body. Below the zero line is just more need for your body. The body just needs more of, in other words, the progress for your body to become resonant with the frequencies being implemented into the body is going to take longer. It's going to be a longer journey. So your body's in more need of some of the content. And then you notice that each frequency is shown individually, right? And so each one will have its own progress scale. And so you'll see some of your frequencies that that's being implemented into you are progressing quicker or start at a much higher number because there's less work to do. Whatever the frequency is doing within the protocol of that program is being reported upon in terms of your resonance of your body. So your body is becoming more and more resonant with that one frequency, and that progress or that scale is just as simply your number line for your report card. Not even a report card. That's not even really the bite, but just how much your body's becoming resonant with that frequency. So if it's negative, just means you got further to go is all. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was pulling up that video here, but I'm gonna share my screen just for a second while we. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so this is inside. I put the link into the direct link into the chat to the Vimeo video, which you can actually share. You can copy that and share it with anyone on your team. But if you go to the Healy Academy, academy.healy.world, log in using the same ID password that you do for the other apps and sites, and then go to the Healy section at the top. And then up until about a week or two ago, it was just the top 6 sort of videos there. And then there's this new one here, how the Healy programs work. And watch the whole thing, but there's this section here, they're asking between the negative 100 to positive 95, and it tells you what's going on exactly in this video and kind of shows how it's being analyzed and when it kicks, once you reach a certain percent, it kicks that frequency out, moves on to the next one. And it's an excellent video. So please go ahead and watch this if you have not seen this new video yet.
Great stuff. Always getting better.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, so let's see. The next question that I saw here was, let's see, about on a flight. Okay. Using your Healy on an airplane now. The FCC is going to say you don't want any transmission except for Bluetooth is okay. FCC is the Communications Commission, but on aircraft, they're very sticky about transmitting signals, but Bluetooth is okay. So anything that's Bluetooth functional, such as earbuds or things that don't disturb the other passengers, seems to be okay. Now, I want you guys to understand that the app is transmitting the program to the Healy hardware via a Bluetooth signal. It does not need Wi-Fi. So when you put your smart device in airplane mode, you're still able to use the Bluetooth function while you're in airplane mode. So you do not need Wi-Fi Once your Healy is set up, so in other words, all the programs have been loaded, you've been using your Healy for a while, whatever the case is, you know it's working. You no longer need the Wi-Fi to add anything to your app or any function with the Healy. Okay, it's all done through the Bluetooth signal. And so you can run it as normal, whether you're on an airplane or in the middle of the woods somewhere with isolated, no signal, no phone signal, and no Wi-Fi signal, because the Bluetooth between the smart device and the Healy is a separate radio signal, completely different, and it's short range. So as long as you're within range of each other, that's only 32 feet, by the way, it's not very far between the smart device and the Healy. Again, Healy uses BLE or Bluetooth low energy, so it doesn't have a very long range. It's a very low energy signal. So anyway, once everything's loaded, though, like I said, when I say loaded, I mean you've set your Healy up in the initial startup phase, right? You've downloaded the apps, you've populated the apps, you've done your updates, and you've been using your Healy and everything's fine. You don't need the Wi-Fi or data anymore. It functions just fine on Bluetooth. So on the airplane, it would do that. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. I love this one. I get this one quite often. Irma says, please clarify whether we should be feeling the frequency when wearing the bands. I've heard said that we don't want to feel the frequency. So I love this question, and it's there's some depth to this, to the answer. And the bottom line is that any time that our awareness, our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, our perceptions get involved in anything, then it's going to start to sway our nervous system from parasympathetic to sympathetic. In other words, from rest and digest into fight or flight. There's going to be some analysis. And this analysis is literally from the limbic brain. The prehistoric brain is safe or not safe. That's the only question that's being asked by the brain of this experience, safe or not safe. And if there's any inkling that it's not safe, then it starts to move us over into the fight or flight, or the stress response of the sympathetic nervous system. And we don't want that because that's not where repair, recovery, and growth happens. This is where the fight or flight happens. This is where protection mode happens. We want to be in the parasympathetic system, or the feeling of safe. And so anytime that you're running something, whether it's new or not new, and you feel tinglies, you feel maybe itchies, you feel something that catches your attention, your awareness, and you put your awareness on it. Where you place your awareness is where you place your energy. And so now we're concerned about this signal or this feeling. Is it okay? Is it not okay? It's consuming energy. It's swaying us out of that rest and digest. It's moving us out of there. So the sweet spot for the Healy, and the question here is, should I be feeling the frequency? Now, I want you to understand what you're feeling first. Also, you're feeling microcurrent. What you're feeling is microcurrent. You're not feeling so much the frequency. The microcurrent is the carrier wave for the frequency. So in other words, it's like the pail or the bucket, I call it, carrying the frequencies into the body. And it's doing it electron by electron by electron within the atomic structure, the atoms of your body. And there are millions of atoms within every cell. And there's even more electrons around each atom. So the energy is microcurrent propagating through the body on electron flow. And this electron flow is oscillating at the frequencies, at the patterns of the frequency. And those frequencies are information targeting or speaking to very specific organs, systems, cells, and tissues. That's why there's these particular frequencies. That's why the program has this frequency available for its purpose. And the body then has a response to it. It shifts cell membrane potential. It shifts ATP production within the body. It shifts protein synthesis and amino acid transport. It shifts these things biologically and physically in the body. Okay. The microcurrent does that. The frequencies are targeting which areas to place the frequent or the energy essentially. Okay. So you're not really feeling the frequency. I mean, it's hard to really give a good explanation of electron flow and oscillation, but you are feeling microcurrent, and you shouldn't. So the idea is to raise the microcurrent up to a certain point, the intensity with the percentage, and then back it off one click, a certain point of feeling it, and then back it off one click. I want you also to understand that the frequency itself determines whether you feel it or not. So frequencies below about 500 hertz are what we call closer to density, the material body. And so it takes a little bit more power for those frequencies to get through the body. In other words, increased intensity of microcurrent flow, but you're also more likely to feel them. So watch your program, pay attention to those frequencies. So if it's, it's 480 hertz and you're feeling the tinglies, back it off a little bit. When it shifts to the next frequency of say 10,000 hertz, you probably won't feel it. But on the app itself has an indicator that tells you that you're getting proper flow or not. That's the most significant part of the entire process. Whether you feel it or not is not the significance. Whether you've got conduction through the body and proper flow of electrons, that's the significance. This is why Healy's got built in this feature in the new Healy 2 app. It's got that waveform pattern that goes across the center of the screen. And then if you disconnect one of the leads or lose conduction between the bands and your body, you'll get a message that comes across the street that says frequency is still being delivered, but there's no conduction, no flow through the body. You want to adjust your current intensity up so that you can get rid of that message, right? That's the feedback loop. So it's important that be the case, just that you got flow through the body, not that you can feel it. All right. You want to add anything there, Jake?
No, that was perfect. Yeah.
Another great question here. Penny says, hey, on this resonance scans, I'm getting kidney all male. And I'm assuming Penny is a female, right? And so is there a female version? So these scans, by the way, folks, understanding in ancient medicines, Chinese medicines look at areas of the body, energy centers. So the first chakra or root energy center doesn't talk about male or female, does it? It's an energy center, and it has a very specific frequency of light color, and it's on the lowest scale of light frequency, which is red. So as we move up the body, the frequencies of light also go higher and higher and higher, so their colors change. So they're represented by a different color of higher frequency, all the way up to the crown, which is purple or violet. That's the highest frequency of light. So there's systems, organs, tissues, cells within each one of those chakras or energy centers. And so when a program is saying, hey, this is what you need, you're a female, but it's showing kidney males, what center are the kidneys? The sacral, right? In that second center. The second center means it represents our safety, our security within our life, how we feel secure in our body. So male or female, if we're not feeling secure in our life, there may be some frequencies within the kidney all male that apply to everybody, or to that particular body, I should say, that particular body. And so that's why it came up in the scan, because there's content within that one program that's relative to that one body, male or female, based on an energy center, based on an area of the body. Okay. And the same vice versa. If you're male and menstruation comes up or something, then again, areas of the body that scan deemed necessary to show you that program. There's frequencies in there relative to you. Okay.
All right. There was another Telegram question earlier on here. The only official Healy Telegram group is the Team Healy USA. So anything other than that, a different name would be some sort of private group that we don't have any sort of control over. So
Yeah.
I'd like to help, but for those, you kind of have to figure something out on your own. But
Yeah, it's if you got kicked out of that group, whether it be from an admin or again, if there's some hackers that's figuring out how to do this, irregardless if you've been banned or kicked out, the only way to get back into a group is if one of the admins connects to you and creates a personal contact with you, and then can add you back into the group as long as they're the admin of that group. So they have to actually kind of take you under their wing as a personal contact, and then they can add you back into that group. So it's a little bit of a process. I've had to do many of these, and some of them are a challenge. Okay, where are we? Bernadette's got a question here about, for 3 weeks, I have not been able to connect to the Blue app on my iPad and Samsung tablet. It goes to login page, which is faded and does not go anywhere. Recent advice from support was to delete the app, turn off the iPad, reinstall the app and Android, and go into the app and clear cache. So it looks like you've done both of these and no success. She says there was a change because the iPad, or on the iPad, it was going to the list and I wasn't on the list. Okay. All right. So you're not able, I'm assuming you're not able to use the Blue Dot app within your iPad or your Samsung tablet. Can you use it on your phone? Is my question. I want to know if you can use it, if the system is working on your phone. The way a phone functions with apps and the way a tablet functions with apps is different. And I know you were able to do it before. And with an update or an upgrade or a shift, now you're not. So two things to consider. Number one is that the operating system on the device, the smart device, is up to par, is to whatever the newest level is. I mean, iPad or iPhone is like 16 point something right now. And that you're using the current version of the app. Like I said, it looks like you did because you deleted it. You went back to the App Store. It's going to have the most current version. Making sure that those are all up to date. If you can use it on your phone, but you cannot use it on a tablet, this is a significant piece of information, because that means that sometimes an update happens, and it depends on the age of your tablet or smart device. Samsung, I should say, Androids tend to be a little more lenient, and functionality is better than the iPads, but still making sure that your device is functioning properly with the proper operating system, and then making sure you've got the latest version of the software or the app.
yeah, it looks like Anthony was helping her via the private chat too on this particular issue.
Okay, so well, good. Keep working that, because I mean, there's some things to try.
Yeah.
All right. There's another question about the seemingly random numbers after the search, and that's some of the things. Join us, please, tomorrow on What's Up Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into that more. We talked about this a little bit earlier, or Jake did.
Yeah.
Please be there tomorrow. If you can't make it tomorrow, grab the recording.
And I mean, Izzy, I was asking if you can ask questions in the chat for Martin. I mean, sure, we can. I don't know if we'll get to every question, but you can certainly put them in there, and we can see what we can get covered. But
yeah, definitely put your questions in the chat. The board members, the mastermind team, we're all going to be trying to help out Jake. We've got customer service people there on the call as well. So we'll be trying to help out.
Yeah, it's an interesting question next here. So It says Dixie's saying I'm able to connect to the HealAdvisor on 2 of my Healys, but the third one will not accept the email and password. Those work on the other 2 Healys. So what might be the problem? So no matter how many Healy devices you have in your account, you have one login, one ID, one email, one password. So my first thought is that that third device might not be on your account. It might not be assigned to your account or something. Maybe it wasn't ever activated properly or something, to where it's either not fully properly assigned to your account, it's assigned to someone else's account. There might be some sort of mix-up there, because that's the only thing that would really prevent you from connecting to that device if it's not assigned to your account that you're trying to log in with. So yeah, I mean, you could put in a support ticket with that serial number that you're having issues with, and our team could let you know if it's properly assigned to your account, that kind of thing. But Ken, anything else for that type of issue? I mean, there's
Yeah, I mean, within the HealAdvisor search app, if you're able to log into that, you're able to go in and see all the Healy serial numbers assigned to you. Okay.
Yeah.
And if that one is on that list, then it means it is assigned to your account and it is part of your inventory, I guess you might say.
Mhm.
And so if that's the case, and you're not able to go over to the HealAdvisor Analyse app, first of all, when you log into a HealAdvisor Analyse app, you're logged in, period. All right, like Jake said. So secondly, if you're able to log in on one of the Healys, go into the little gear at the bottom, and that's your settings tab. Click into which one is it? It is the let me pull it up. I can see it in my head, but I don't know the name of it. But you're basically going to switch to a different Healy. Okay, so if you're logged in on one Healy, doesn't matter which one. And then what I want you to do is to switch to a different Healy, and you can click on connect to a different Healy. And then with all your Healys turned on, or with that one turned on that you're having problems with, it's going to search for all the Healys. It's going to pull up that one serial number, and then click on that one serial number. You'll see the little eye will spin and spin and spin, and then it will connect. You're still logged in. Remember, you're still logged in, but that's how you connect to that one Healy while you're still logged in to the analyze function, and then see if you can actually operate a scan or some recollection of a list. Now, if you're not in there as a client, as a customer, that's because, and you are in there on with one of the other Healys, you need to do a full sync. So all the content, whatever is assigned to that Healy that you are a client in, do a full sync. That's going to put all the content into the cloud. You and all your lists are going to go into the cloud. Then when you connect to a different Healy, this should only happen on different smart devices, not different Healys. So in other words, you've got 2 smart devices with the Blue Dot app on it, and you've done a lot of work, your client lists and your work on this one smart device for 2 weeks. And then you go over to this other smart device and log into the same Healy and try to go back to those lists. They won't be there. They won't be there. And the reason is because you didn't do a full sync on the first device so it would be in your cloud, then do a full sync on the second device so it would pull it down from the cloud. Then all the content is equal, bridged across both devices. You see, so content such as clients, lists, scans, all that can be on 2 different smart devices separate, even though it's your account, because they haven't been synchronized with the cloud. This is critical. If I get this all the time, all the time. Okay, so do your full synchronizations. Do that little experiment I told you about, how you can get into the settings, search for other Healys, connect to one that you're having problems with, and see it should force the connection, and you should be fine. But the lists and content that you're looking for still aren't going to be there if they were done on a different smart device. Okay. All right. I know it's this is all security stuff. It's on purpose, by the way. It's to protect you and protect your information. That's its purpose. It seems complicated, but all right.
So we have, oh, I think next here it says, I own 3 Healys and want to let a friend use one of mine for a month. Can she use it at her house while I use my other Healys at my house? Or can I add her as a client on that device, but still use mine with no problems? Or is there a better way to let her borrow it? So some people put in the chat here, specifically, yes, demo mode. That's what you want to do here. Just put that device into demo mode. She can use it for a month, 2 months, however long you want. Her data will only be saved locally for her, and it won't be uploaded and synced to your cloud account. So it'll be completely separate. And then once you get that device back, as soon as you log out of demo mode and log back into your account, all that data is going to be cleared out as soon as you log out. So she doesn't have to worry about her data being sort of visible to anybody else either, and it won't be in your cloud. And it's easy to do. You just go to your cloud settings, and then next to your email address, there'll be a logout option. You just click logout, and then when you go to start the app up again, you'll be able to start demo mode from there. It's pretty simple. There's a bunch of videos that we have online of how to do that, but once you do it the first time, it's really simple.
Yeah. Back to kind of what I was just talking about in regards to how things are synced, right? The demo mode doesn't sync anything to any cloud. It only exists on the smart device in the app that's on that smart device. So remember, these apps are unique to the smart device that they're functioning on. All right. So all of the content that you save, you create within the app on that smart device is only going to be living there, whether it's in a demo mode or, your own systems. Okay. Looks like Anthony's busy helping people private messaging in the background. Thank you so much, by the way. I'm not sure which ones have been answered that we still need to open up and unpack.
I think we're on. I think why is the Soul Cycle not on the Analyze app yet? So yeah, brand new module that just came out, and typically everything's not available immediately. So long term, typically all these modules and new programs that come out eventually make their way over to the Analyze app database. And maybe that's a good question for Martin Whitman on the call tomorrow. But yeah, typically that's the plan. Just like the MagHealy programs were, when they first came out, and now they're available on the Analyze app too. So it takes time to make these changes and make changes to the database and make those updates available.
Seeing several questions about the watch, time not synchronizing.
Yeah.
Being off. This is a synchronization function between the app and the smart device. This is how time is synchronized. So go into your settings on that app and take a look at what you have turned on and turned off. The synchronization process. Okay. There's another question here about the battery. So someone here has their Healy has not been working properly. The battery life is extremely short. And so in other words, I've heard this before. And the only way to connect to customer service is through the service portal within your shop page. On the shop page, there is a customer support portal that you can go in there. You'll have to log in again. And then you could submit a ticket, and that ticket then will generate an email to you. And then that's how you will get information as to what to do next. Now, that same ticket, you can go in and add a comment to. So in other words, you get an email from customer support maybe with another question or something like that, you can also respond in a comment on that ticket. There's some videos that we have on our YouTube page that talk about how to submit a customer service ticket, as well as how to respond to one. That's the way to do it, because if there is a defect with your particular hardware, your Healy hardware, then it's going to need to be replaced. And that's going to also be done. We don't have a customer support phone number. We don't have that. However, if it's a back and forth thing and the system is not, or the problem is not being solved, then customer support can set up a live Zoom with you and come up with a solution that way. Okay, so use that portal. Okay.
Let's see. A lot of questions tonight. Trying to figure out where we left off here.
Okay.
So there was a comment, I guess, about this. There's someone heard there was a tool that will increase the frequency of the Healy. And if you can buy this particular tool. So I'm wondering if maybe they're referring to increasing the intensity from low current to high current, because you're not actually increasing the frequency, you're increasing the current flowing through it. Not, I mean, that's the that's the only thing I can think of, is maybe they were referring to a way to boost the intensity of the current there, and that's done through the HealAdvisor app. In the MagHealy section, you can change your configuration from low to high,
which is still only addressing the electron flow, or the current flow, the microcurrent flow out of the Healy into the body. The frequencies themselves, a frequency, or in other words, a waveform, you don't really amplify that. A frequency is a measurement of a cycle in time. It's a cycle of something. So a cycle of energy, or I should say of information, that goes to a maximum to a minimum within a certain period of time. In fact, that's how a frequency is measured. It's measured of its intensity from maximum to minimum over a period of time. That's called a waveform. And so each frequency speaks to matter, I guess you might say, material content. And it's in cells, bones, tissues, organs, it's all material content. Emotions actually build within the cell structures of our body. Belief structures build within the synaptic connections in our brain. So it's frequencies that are addressing matter, but it's essentially a frequency is just an energetic waveform in time. So we're not going to amplify those. We're not going to really amplify those. The only thing we can do with a frequency is change its duration. Then it's a shorter frequency or a longer frequency, right? It's 428 hertz or it's 897 hertz. It's a duration in time. We're not going to change that. When you're looking at trying to amplify a frequency, this requires a coherent frequency of exact like frequency. Okay, in other words, a coherent signal. When you get two waveforms that are upon each other, right, you amplify the signal. Healy doesn't do that. What Healy does is it has current flow through the Healy, through the wires, or through the coil, and you can increase the current flow. Remember what I said earlier? What's the microcurrent? The microcurrent is the pail or the carrier to carry those frequencies, those oscillations into the body. And it's those electrons that are oscillating at that very specific frequency as they're moving through the body. It's information moving through the body. And you can increase the electron flow by more electrons doing the same thing, right? The same exact thing, but the same frequency. It's not amplifying the frequency. It's just amplifying the number of electrons that are resonating that frequency through the body. So you get more pails, I guess you might say, carrying the frequency. All right. So you're not amplifying the frequency. You're amplifying the current flow through the body. You do that too much, you're going to get some kind of a feeling in the body. too much current flow, it's going to oscillate or pinch or feel weird. And the pinching, by the way, there's a question here about what does that feel? What's that pinching feel you feel? It's actually micro arcing between the electrode and the skin cell. Your body only has a very finite language structure, and pain or heat or cold or ache or pinch or what, that's all the language of the body's sensations. All right. You assign meaning to it. Like, if you feel this little pinching sensation, somebody told you that was called a pinch. You assign the meaning to that sensation. So you feel this pinching sensation with the wristbands. Well, you've got the current flow at a certain level and the conductivity between the strap and your skin at a certain level. And there's essentially a electron arcing going on. The electrons are trying to jump a span between its source, the band, and its target, the skin. And it can feel like a pinch. So we need to look at making some adjustments, making sure that there's good conduction material, electrode gel or water, something between the wristband and the skin, making sure the skin is clean. This time of year for me, it's cold. It's dry. People are applying lotions and such to their hands. And lotion, by the way, people, is an insulator. And so now you're trying to get electron flow through something that's creating separation or holding moisture in your body, a barrier between the intracellular moisture and the outside air that's trying to consume it. This is what lotion does, trying to hold the moisture into the body so you don't feel so dry. Well, that's an insulator. So current flow is going to make it's going to be harder for this current flow to go through your body. So you need to wash up, right? Same thing with the wristbands. Maybe they've got sweat and oils and such on it. People who use essential oils, oil is an insulator. You're not going to get good electron flow through some of that stuff. Wash it up. And you can wash the wristbands, just a pH neutral dish soap or soap of some sort. Wash them, shake them off, and use them. Okay. So long answer for those questions.
We got a good question here. It's well, all the questions are good questions on Tech Tip Tuesday, but it's how long do you vibrate a program for in the Analyze app? Says everyone says something different. And they said yesterday a Healy rep said 37 seconds. So that number actually, it's not the easiest thing to find. But if you go to the Healy Academy, actually, there's a section here. It's actually not in the Analyze app part though. So it's a little bit trickier to find. But if you go to, this is again, back to Healy Academy. This is the coach module section. And then there's a video about halfway down called Transmission Duration at Healy Coach. And this is where, about half or 3 minutes into this video or so, there's a part here. This is where that 37 seconds comes from. There's a wide range. And of course, when you run a program in the Analyze app, a resonance analysis, there's a wide range of times that you can pick, but this is just a general guideline as well, whether it's for coach or for a resonance as well. But these are again, there's a lot more to this, but if someone's asking a general guideline, this is a good place to go to for a start. And from there, a lot of it is up to you. How you feel, how you're doing. Like there's not one answer necessarily for everybody. Just like there's not one intensity that everybody runs programs at in the Healy app with the electrodes. Some people run it at 100%, some people run it at 15% because there's different sensitivity. It affects everybody differently. And this is kind of the same way. So this is a general guideline here. But Ken, anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's conscious versus subconscious, subtle versus not subtle. Mm-hmm. These are the reasons that these times are set the way they are. Still for general guidelines, just like, not operating heavy equipment during certain things. These are general guidelines. The most important thing is like you can be the experiment, run them for longer periods of time and see how you are affected. Some people are way more sensitive to things than others. And I'll tell you that the ones who are super sensitive to energy or frequency influence can't even use the microcurrent. They have to use vibrate mode and have to use small amounts of time. So this is a general guideline because it's in the coaching module, the dilution systems, all of the areas of influence are the same within the coaching module as they are within the resonance. And so these times apply. Now, we're used to things in terms of our clock, how we're referencing time in terms of a day, in terms of a minute, an hour, a week, whatever. When we're looking at the information field, folks, understand when it comes to electron flow, like I mentioned earlier in the microcurrent, or information in the information field, the quantum field, things there happen at the speed of light and sometimes even faster. So when we're working beyond the speed of light, now we're in pure consciousness, pure information field. And when we're within the speed of light, which is we talked about some of the energy centers before, measured in light frequencies, we talked about electron flow within the body. These are measured and acted upon within the speed of light. And within this body, there are so many meridians. Some of the meridians are seriously only a couple of cells wide, And when we run microcurrent from one side of the body to the other, it propagates across these meridian lines and omnidirectionally influences them at the electron level. So it doesn't take much. It happens at the speed of light. And we're thinking, okay, well, I need to run more is better, right? No, not necessarily. More is not better. Information happens at the speed of light. And so when we vibrate a frequency, we vibrate a program, we vibrate something within the resonance system, our blueprint within the quantum field, the target, the client of the content, the intention of the content, it's upregulated in an instant. So the rest is just how well we're accepting, believing, and surrender into the effect. So I do want to get to one last question. There's a question here. There are contraindicators. There's people have questions around using Healy with pacemakers, different kinds of triggering mechanisms within the body, these implants. Healy is not, the contraindicator for that is don't use Healy microcurrent when you are connected with an implant that's working through like pacemakers or some of the other triggering mechanisms for vital systems. Epilepsy is another one. Some of the neurological things that happen to the body based on a trigger. Microcurrent could stimulate that. So no, you don't use the microcurrent with pacemakers, but the information field, the resonance scan, and the vibrate mode are 100% safe for everything like that. Coil was also designed to be able to utilize these frequencies in Healy without the connections to the cables. The coil is another way that you can use these frequencies in these systems. Okay. Yes. So hopefully that takes care of that question. Jake, anything else, any lightning round you want to do? We're at the end of our hour. I know I was a little bit late. Maybe we'll just.
No, I was gonna say just I think we're pretty good here. I think just make sure everyone join us tomorrow for What's Up Wednesday. And we'll have some great information from Martin Whitman, our Chief Product Officer.
I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, make sure you guys join us. Remember that this recording will be available to you pretty soon, and you can go back and revisit it. And the cool thing about the recording is you can hit pause if you want to take notes. So, all right, guys. And by the way, if you want to save the chat content down there where you would put your chat in, if you're on your computer, there's three little dots next to the smiley icon. Click on those three little dots. allows you to download or save the chat onto your computer so that you have these links and answers and content in the background. All right, guys. All right. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure serving you, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.